Okay. All right. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Turn on your
Turn on your mics, everyone.
mics.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Southbury Planning Commission to order. If everyone would join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Let's see, seating of alternates. We don't really know what, if you're first. We'll see. Robert, Scarlett, we're gonna need you, so let's,
In?
okay?
In?
I'm sorry?
I didn't.
We're gonna seat you as the alternate tonight.
Oh, okay.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, number one, public hearing, special exception and site application, Cornerstone Assembly of God, 1570 Southford Road, change of building use from bank to the church. Anybody here from the applicant? Excellent.
Hi. I'm Jerry Smith. I'm one of the deacons and representing the church in the application. Thank you for having the hearing tonight. One thing I would make a clarification is it does say from a bank to a church. We are a church and we do have our sanctuaries down the road at 656 Oxford Road in Oxford. But the use of the building, the old Liberty Bank building, is going to be strictly administrative. It's going to be a Monday 9 to 5 offices and strictly administrative. So there won't be any services there on Sundays. And it'll strictly just be, like I said, administrative, and staff will be there on Monday's service. We provided, I believe, everything. I worked with Jordan and Judy to make sure that we got everything. We got the Valley Health approval, and we just, we're looking forward to becoming good neighbors and doing what we can in Southbury. We actually support you now. Our ministry is in Oxford, but we actually reach up into Southbury. We support the Needy Fund and the Needy Bank and the Southbury Fuel Bank. And over the past 5 years, we've invested over $60,000 in residents in Southbury. So we're a very outreaching church, and we're just looking forward to your favorable approval and hopefully an approval tonight so we can close and get in and start doing some renovations to the building. I can answer any questions you might have.
So, I'm sure my commission members have a couple questions, but we're gonna have to continue the public hearing
Okay.
after tonight, because we don't have approval from Oxford, so we can't make a decision without it.
You know, it's funny, I asked, when I talked to Jordan about that, and I asked him because I talked to them, and
Jordan, do we have it?
No, so Oxford doesn't send approvals. We wanted to make sure that they had our notification letter and they had ample time to receive it.
Right.
And have the opportunity to respond. Jerry has reached out and
Okay.
they have
That's-
no comments.
and I spoke to the first selectman, who spoke to the zoning, who spoke to the
Right.
planners on there, and they just don't reply, and they leave it to the COG. So if the COG had any questions, the COG would come up if they did, and they would reach out through them, but there was nothing, and they did receive the letter, they received the correspondence, both when it was mailed.
I don't have the
Yeah.
return receipt yet.
I
Right,
think-
so we'll have to
Jordan said
wait
he-
for that.
I think you said he got the return receipt.
Yeah.
Did you say you got it?
I don't think we received.
Yeah, we'll have to wait to get that. Once we get that, it'll be quick to get approval after that, if everything with the public hearing goes fine.
Is that gonna be next month, or do you have
Probably
a
next
special
month,
meeting?
yeah. August 22nd is the date?
Because you indicated to me that you had it, Jordan.
Not the return receipt.
Not the return receipt.
22nd?
22nd of August, they'll be in room right here, 7:05 at 7 PM.
So that's the soonest that we could
That's the
actually
soonest.
see. And then from there, there's a 15-day,
August 15th it is?
August 15th?
Okay, that's the soonest, August 15th then.
okay.
Any questions from the commission members? Anybody?
Not a question, but is there a possibility of any special meetings coming up? And if so, could that be added to the agenda of a special meeting?
Well, that would be, we don't usually have a meeting in August.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
August 15th, I mean, I guess we could do one if we had to for that, but,
We would love it if you could.
Yeah.
The bank wants to close and we want to close,
Right.
and we kind of really looking to fast track. We're busting at the seams at our building, and we desperately need
Yeah.
the space. And the bank, we worked a good deal with the bank, so they're pushing us to close. We did a phase one, we did all our inspections, and we're really kind of trying to, move it. And then we
Right.
have a fair amount of work we need to, just to spruce it up and clean it, paint it all. I think I showed you what it was.
Administratively, or no? We can't do that?
yeah, I wouldn't think we'd have to, especially with the public hearing being open still on it.
Oh, with the
Would a
public.
letter from Oxford suffice?
At the next
We're gonna
meeting.
need that for the file for sure, but the public hearing can't be closed until we have that.
Well, so you can't even close the hearing.
Right.
Could you close it in a special meeting? Seems like they're favorable
We
to a
could, if
special
we,
meeting.
we'd have to, notice it as a public hearing for that.
We're begging for
I know, I
we're
know.
politely, respectfully begging for a
So we could
special
put-
public hearing if it's
It's up to the
possible.
commission if we could put a meeting on sooner. Does everybody have a date? That's,
It's to run twice in,
right, so twice in the paper means we won't make it in time.
still pushing it out.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks.
Question, any comments, because Oxford order. Okay, with that, I'll do.
No, we continue it on? Anything? Okay, so we'll continue. Public hearing number 2, modification request to approve special exception, Bevy Company, 22 Poverty Road, requesting to revise hours of operation for the table service restaurant.
I couldn't
Okay, there you go.
say Wednesday, but yeah.
Okay.
So Wednesday through Monday, I guess. That's right.
The hours you're requesting are.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Just
Request.
run down the hours for us again, just so it's
Oh,
on
okay,
record.
so yeah, I was going to align with my liquor permit, which is 1 AM and 2 AM.
Okay.
Just like last time, though, I have not closed past 11:30, except for the first day I was open. I was just looking to not get the cops called on me every single night anymore, and this is where I was guided to just kind of go through the formalities to make sure that that stops happening,
Okay.
more or less.
Any questions for Stevie, the applicant? Anybody? Nobody?
No.
Anyone from the public? Comments for or against?
Yep. Yes, yes, yes. Monday through Sunday. Yeah, so do you want me to do it now? Okay, so let's see. Wednesday, I would be 3 to 1. Thursday, 3 p.m. to 1 o'clock. Friday, 3 p.m. to 2 o'clock. Saturday, 3 p.m. to 2 o'clock. Sunday, 3 p.m. to 1 o'clock. Yeah. Okay, you're welcome. Sunday is 3 to 1. Yeah.
Okay,
Now I have a question.
okay, Bob.
Should things change in the future, it sounds like now currently you have, what, Monday, Tuesdays off?
I have Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm closed.
Tuesday, Wednesday, you're
Yeah.
closed? Is there a possibility that that might change in the future? And if so, would you like to state what those potential hours would be?
That sounds smart. I would like to do that. If that changes in the future, Tuesday and Wednesday both would be 3 p.m. to 1 a.m. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. Yeah. No, I don't anymore. No, okay. Nope.
Okay.
No siree.
Anyone else from the commission? Question for Stevie at all? Anyone in public? Okay. Then we'll close the public hearing then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Appreciate it.
Draft approval right here. Is this draft approval?
Bless you.
That's the denial. Here's-
We'll have to make the change on this for hours based on what she said. We'll have to make those changes. Okay. Okay. Unfinished business, special exception, site plan, Cornerstone Assembly of God, which we've, anyone have anything you want to say or comment on it? Because we're going to move it to the public, okay?
Should we set the date for the, by motion for the public, for the special meeting?
Well, we did before they left, we said, the 15th of August.
Which is the regularly scheduled.
The regular scheduled meeting, yeah. We'll just continue it to then, because we have plenty of time on the public hearing. Anyone else have anything before we just move on that one? Okay. Let's see, modification to request approval, special exception, Bevy Company, 22 Poverty Road, requesting a revised hours of operation for table service restaurant. We should make a decision tonight. Anyone have any comments, any thoughts on it before we go to a vote? That side of the table, anybody? Nothing? Bob?
Motion to approve.
I'll second it. All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, approved. So let me just read this in a resolution for July 18th, 2023, whereas Southbury Planning Commission on January 17th, 2023 received a site plan application on December 9th, 2022, together with a permit from Zoning Commission application for interior alteration to accommodate a small restaurant and functional bar totaling seating about 31 occupants, having business hours between 4 p.m. and 10 p.m. The new hours have changed. They were stated on the record. The statement of use attached to the site plan application incorrectly referenced hours of operation due to the absence of the information brought forth in the commission at the time of submission, whereas the proposed use is applied for with the district, whereas the parking is referred to as the plan from 2005 site plan will be sufficient for the proposed use, whereas the commission has received a requisite approval from the Houstonic Health Department dated 1/17/2023, converting from medical offices to restaurant bar consisting of 31 seats. Further, as stipulated, the approval is only for that of the septic and not for the requirements of the food service. Whereas the commission finds the proposed use of the restaurant/bar for 31 patrons is keeping with pertinent regulations of the town of Southbury's Planning Conservation Development. Now therefore be resolved by the Southbury Planning Commission that application is approved to allow Monday through Thursday. So we're off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, right? So Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from, looks like this is incorrect, all this.
That might be the original resolution.
So we're gonna,
It sounds like the original resolution.
yeah, we're gonna use the dates and times based on the applicant's information this evening for approval. So 3 p.m. to 1 p.m. Thursday, and then Friday, 3 to 2 p.m., 2 a.m. Okay. Subject to the following, the special exception form shall be filed with the town's clerk office prior to the issuance of the zoning permit. Further, if it's understood that any expansion or seating alteration, hours of operation alterations or similar shall require a new application and reviewed by the town of Southbury. Thank you. All right. So this one we'll get rid of, right? Okay. All right. Under new business, special exception modification to the Nami Restaurant, 519 Heritage Road, requesting to add outside patio dining and additional interior seating. Let's see here, this is this one here. So the question here is, did everybody take a look at it? What did everybody think? And then should we do a public hearing for them or turf it back to the zoning commission to have them do it as a zoning permit and not have us involved?
The commission or the department?
I'm sorry?
Because this was supposed to be, Judy's inquiry was whether it was gonna be, approved by you through the standard special exception public hearing process.
Yep.
Where this would be a simple administrative process upstairs,
Right, through zoning.
not the zoning commission.
Oh, okay. Thoughts on that? Anybody?
Wasn't there outside seating previous to this for Friendlies, didn't they? Or someone had outside seating there.
So, in researching, Jordan, zoning enforcement officer for the town of Southbury, Judy had researched and could not find any documentation to support that they ever had outdoor seating.
I don't ever remember
They
that.
definitely did. Friendlies? Yeah.
There was question about early on, and then Judy had even brought up, like, I recall, waiting out there, because that's where, if it was packed, they would have you line up outside on the
That
patio.
was years
There
ago,
was
though.
definitely seating out there.
Yeah.
So whether or not there was seating and it was actually approved, or the structure was built,
didn't have any documentation in our office.
precisely the case.
Yeah.
So that's why it's before you today and needing additional approval and review.
So it was not
Question.
approved.
Why would this be any different We've talked about outside seatings for a lot of different establishments. Of course, I'm having a mental block with the restaurant's name. The outdoor patio down the street. I know they built a patio so that,
Yeah, the one over here in the movie theater?
excuse me?
Monty's or Lucas Local.
Lucas Local.
No, not even, well, both of those we did, also
Mercado?
Mercados, but did it come before us because they actually added structures, you know, hardscape structures, landscaping and actual, you know, slates and tiles and,
We asked for them to do that because there was a problem with the traffic.
It all came right out of COVID time, remember, coming out of COVID?
Yeah.
That's when a lot of that came in, and they built those structures over here in where the old
so would we
breakfast
treat
place
this
was,
one
too.
differently and just do it administratively, or would we go through the process?
We didn't do those administratively.
No, in the past, we never did.
Huh?
It's a unique circumstance because there's no site plan development. It's quite literally just putting the chairs out there for your approval. If there's anything additional that you need, you feel you need to consider, we have done a pretty comprehensive job reviewing the parking and access and ingress and egress for restaurant workers and patrons. So effectively, given that, you know, the structure's there, a lot of the legwork has been done years and years prior to you, if the review that stands before you in the memo would suffice, then possibly this wouldn't require, you know, wasting anyone's
see the
additional
space.
time in the
There'll be
commissioner's
more
time.
people. I don't see it.
Isn't it under the,
It's still the same use, restaurant to
Yeah.
restaurant.
right.
And you're
Yeah,
comfortable with the additional seats? Because I didn't really see any more room that they could put all that in there. Did you see?
Yeah,
it?
that's, I was worried about.
Seems pretty tight in there.
Yeah, it says
The
20.
interior seats are a little interesting.
Yeah.
The exterior, it makes perfect sense.
Exterior is-
And the
yeah.
quantification of how the seats and the square footage, it all lines up.
Inside, it's just tight.
And if that requires review and some time for you guys to consider that,
Has anyone been there?
Mhm.
Yeah, if you've been there, you know what I mean? It's kind of,
Yeah.
it's set up nicely, don't get me wrong, it really is, and food's fantastic, but I don't see how we can put 20 more people in there. It's
I-
well done now, and it's
Yeah,
tight, nice, but not overcrowded, but nice.
no,
20 more seats, I don't
Other
know where.
accessibility concerns?
Is this where you're showing
related to-
18 on the map? Is this it?
They don't have the interior, do they?
We didn't do the other ones administratively.
Then we won't then. It's up to us.
We didn't because we wanted to see access.
All right, then we'll just, it's up to you folks. Want to just do it ourselves, not administratively? We'll make sure it's done right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's do that then.
Oh, here's the,
Okay.
where they're putting the seats
All right,
inside.
and that's the answer then, so we'll schedule a public hearing and go from there.
Are you gonna put this on for August?
Might as well, make sure we don't short them time. I'm sure they want to get to it. So August 15th, public hearing scheduled for them, room 205, right, we're in? 7 PM.
Mhm.
Do we need a motion for
Have you been?
that? Okay.
Not yet.
It's good.
Everybody's comfortable with that? Okay. All right. Under other business.
Yeah.
Oh, Nance, this is you. I have to recuse myself on this one. The Willow Creek
Mhm. So on our
estate, so I'm
agenda-
going to seat Robert, and I'm going to sit out. Okay?
Is this continued? It's referral to zoning?
I'm recusing myself, yep.
It's only a change of color? Anyone have any questions or comments or motion or?
But if you're recusing yourself, Robert's already seated for Ron.
Oh, we didn't really need him, though, because we have full members here.
Mhm. We have enough
No,
though.
you don't.
1, 2,
missing
3,
Ron.
4.
You sat Robert in place of Ron.
We still have a quorum, right?
That makes your 6 members. Now you got 2 alternates.
All right, so I'll seat Kim in this place then.
Okay, so
That's
she
fine.
can sit
Robert, you're
in
still there.
place of you.
You, that's fine. Kim, you're up.
Okay,
Okay?
but you're still on.
You're still on, Robert. I'm sorry, I'm just,
Oh,
You're
Yeah.
on for Ron,
yep,
I'm on. Okay.
thank you.
just to get it straight.
I was thinking 4. Sorry.
So the referral would be for Benjamin Moore White.
Mhm.
Does anyone have any input, any questions, any comments? Okay, then pursuant to section B, Section 8-3AB of the Connecticut General Statutes. The Planning Commission reviewed the attached amendment number 10 for PDD number 19 regulation text amendments as it concerns the proposed color changes for our review and comments. It is understood that the proposed color change to the main body of the house will be Benjamin Moore white, OC-151. The commission, if there's motion, the commission finds this request in keeping with the pertinent regulations and intent of PDD number 19. Therefore, at our meeting, the planning commission may vote to approve the above referral if we have a motion to send a referral
I'll
to
second.
zoning. Motion by Kim. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Aren't we supposed to be getting a presentation on the colors with chips, paint chips by the applicant?
I think it's white.
The zoning
No other
commission has
color.
already gotten,
It is in fact white, however.
You don't have it?
Can I make a clarification? I think it'll make it a little simpler. I was the one that opened the can of worms last time. When I read the application, I assumed that they were trying to change all those different colors, when in fact, all they're trying to do is add in Benjamin Moore white, period. That's it.
That's
Right,
it?
but the zoning commission met after, no, before you guys, no, after.
After the first time, before
Yes.
this time.
And they have the color chip.
It is upstairs if anyone would like to see it.
So
I
it's
can
just
pass
one
that.
color and it's
It's white.
white.
Yeah.
Okay, not shades of white, just plain old white.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other questions? No. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes.
Stay done? Okay. So I'm gonna reseat myself and unseat Kim, thank you.
Great job.
Nice job, Kim, thank you.
My
Members'
pleasure.
reports, Affordable Housing Subcommittee. Bob Harrison, how do we look?
We're in a bit of a transition because we finished our trifold. I'll be honest, with Judy leaving, I'm not sure where we are in the process of the
Okay.
distribution of it, but we'll get on top of it once things settle down again.
Okay.
And then, basically with Alex taking over, I believe our upcoming meeting, what she wants to do is concentrate again on refreshing all the members on what the charge was, and then pick the next topic as to what we will concentrate on. But as seeing we have a new member on the commission, she wants to kind of bring everybody back up to speed.
Good, okay,
That's where we're at.
all right, excellent.
Did you review the latest affordable housing application?
Yes, we did. And that was met and passed, like, what was it, 2 days later
Yeah.
by planning? So, the comments that the subcommittee had brought up was only one, and I know I mentioned it during the meeting. So, I don't recall right now. I believe it had to do with sidewalks.
Somewhere in
And
there.
and that was brought up, from the subcommittee and then mentioned at the planning meeting,
Good job.
so.
And they already started construction already, so it looks,
Yeah.
already digging it back, so it looks good. All right. All right, so we need a motion to add in the guardrail discussion right here.
Motion to add guide rails to the agenda this evening.
I'll second it. All in favor of adding the guardrail discussion?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, so guardrail discussion. Guardrail discussion. So we all have the information that Deb sent out from the town and the DOT, all the different pictures of the different guardrails. And Bob, I think I'll turf it to you since you have a good handle on this whole
So,
scenario. Take us through it if you don't mind. Thank you.
sure. Previously, we had settled on trying to make a distinction between our historic districts and picturesque areas in town versus other sections of town by the use of the Merritt Parkway guide rail. So, if guide rails had to be put up in a historic district or around a park, Merritt Parkway would have been used. Unfortunately, the state of Connecticut has decertified the use of Merritt Parkway guide rails. So that's no longer an option. So really, before us is, we have three choices of guide rails, as you could see in your email. The shiny metal beam, the used metal beam, and the weathered, the one that looks kind of rusted and brown.
Weather's
I-
most expensive, huh?
Yes, it is, very expensive compared to the used. I think, personally, the question that comes to mind is, do we want to make a distinction with our historic districts, or, let's say, playgrounds, any type of natural feature that we're trying to present in a more positive way? Do we want those to have a special type of guide rail, so it sets it apart? Or does everybody get treated the same and everybody gets the same guide rail? I think that's the question before us.
Right.
Completely, yeah, and the weathered guide rail doesn't offer as much as far as usability, and in discussing.
Can't hear you.
My apologies. In speaking with the Historic District Commission, they have been burned in the past. Mansion House Road comes to mind as far as something that's really upset them recently, and they would have loved the opportunity to receive.
Point, though, bear in mind that Mansion House Road, that is a state road,
Completely.
and that falls outside of our purview.
Yep, yep,
They know that, right?
they do.
Oh.
They've
What are
been
they
notified.
upset about?
I'm sorry?
What are they upset about?
They were upset that they weren't consulted.
Okay. So what
Like
kind of,
Mr. Harrison.
so they
Got
don't
nice
like, the-
shiny guide rail.
Chinese
Okay.
one going, yeah,
And they don't
Yeah,
want that.
it's the brightest one. If
Okay.
they
They
had
would've
been
liked the wood
consulted,
one, you know, the nice cool one that, you
Right.
know, talked
they would have
about
much
it.
preferred Merit. Since
Yeah,
that has been
right.
decertified, there's no crash safety rating on it anymore.
Yeah.
They would have probably chosen something more rustic in nature,
we-
but
We like that too.
there's nothing you can do about it when it comes to the
Let 'em
state, so
know.
that tends to be what happens.
Question?
Yeah.
I certainly support the more rural appearance. That's what our plan of development says also, to continue with that. But who would decide then what, historic is easy to decide, but who would decide if it was a rural character?
According to our guidelines that we set back in 2020, we wrote up the criteria. And basically, a synopsis of it is, if it's a historic district, it was supposed to get the merit. If it was a scenic roadway, playgrounds, historic buildings, parks, open space, or other special circumstances, it would have received that. If there was a question, if it came before Public Works and they were unsure, it was supposed to come back to planning for us to make the final designation. If it was a replacement of a section due to, let's say, an accident, it was allowed to be replaced with the existing guide rail. And, I mean, I can read all the, from 2020, the criteria. I think we could take the 2020 criteria and just insert the weathered steel in place of merit. But once again, it comes down to, are we gonna use weathered steel throughout the whole town?
So that's my
Or-
question, I guess. Are they gonna stockpile
And then-
one we choose, or?
And then also you know, as a taxpayer,
Right.
you know, pretty expensive to do weathered steel throughout the entire town.
And they're saying the lifespan is 10 years as opposed to 30 years with new, or up to
So-
30 years with new.
What is our budget?
Is that what road we
How
trying to
much
decide
do
here?
we use
don't know.
in a year?
I don't know.
Which one to choose?
Is it a big item?
How you're going to be moving forward with guide rails with this new modification of Merit not being used anymore.
Can't hear you.
So the Board of Finance will make the final decision, I'm sure, right, on what they're gonna spend.
I think it's a compromise for the 2020. It's a good compromise. It's not the whole town, but it's where appropriate and follows our plan of development
What does
to
everybody think?
to retain the rural character of Southbury.
It definitely makes a difference. I drive past a weathered guardrail every day. It's nowhere near as bright and shiny as the new stuff. I have reservations about the used stuff without their material certification. Being in manufacturing engineering, it's having your certifications is key, and the Federal Highway Administration doesn't recommend using used or resalvaged guardrail. And Connecticut doesn't do it either unless they know where the guardrails come from, just like those other states that I mentioned at the last meeting. So
What's your position?
the weather guardrail does look nicer. They did talk about people concerned about it looking rusted, but I don't think it looks rusted at all. It definitely looks treated. It's far too regular for it to look just rusted.
Yeah, I guess I'm of two minds on it. I think aesthetically, the weathered is where to go. And I think we kind of danced around this last time. If we could see an aggregate of, here are the total square footage of rail, and we have some kind of boundaries, and we knew that, X number of miles will be in the weathered and Y in the other option, I think that would help assuage, the fiscal part of this question. If we're only really supposed to be focusing on the aesthetics and let the Board of Finance handle the money, I think it would, the historic districts, again, are obvious opportunities, but to Nancy's point, where else would weathered be? So I think, in general, I'm in favor of the idea of the weathered, but without seeing some of the specifics behind it, it's hard to give it a full-throated support.
Okay. I guess the big question is, who's gonna decide what goes where when the time comes? Right, so we don't
That kind of
have the,
spells it out, unless there's a question and it comes
Right.
back to us.
I would hope.
I'll also be honest that the 2020 language that I referred to,
Needs updating?
no, well, it would have to be changed if we went with this again. It was a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen. I don't know whether the Board of Selectmen ever acted on it. So, I don't know where it actually stands.
Maybe we should send a memo to them and find out where it's at.
Well, this is the moratorium.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of updating that and sending that as our position to the Board of Selectmen.
If we
Update it, we're making
If we
the
just
decision.
updated it, you would, basically, it would say weathered steel in those special areas, historic districts, playgrounds, parks, et cetera, and that in all other places, we would use,
Right.
I haven't heard the commission,
Department of Public Works would probably decide that.
Well, that's what I'm worried about. Who makes that decision?
well, whether it be new or used.
Yeah.
I
What's the
think we
problem? Like
could,
the historical, the people over there on Denton Mansion Road, we avoid that.
I think we could make our recommendation as to what we feel and send it to the Board of Selectmen and let them decide yay, nay, what they're gonna do with it.
That's a good idea.
So anything that's not described there would be
If you would,
what it is now. It's up to discretion of Department of Public Works.
for the record, it wouldn't take me long, and I could just reinsert. Do you want me to read what we had last time?
Read it all into the record?
Yeah, it's not long.
It's up to you. That makes sense. I don't know if everybody has a copy.
So
but
if
that's
we,
fine.
Baron, when I read this out, it's gonna be, instead of merit, I'm gonna say the weathered steel.
Sure.
And in all others, it's going to be what, used or up to Public Works, which,
I think up to Public Works, because that's what they've been doing. That would help the budget.
all right, so they're numbered. Number 1, guide rails should be avoided when roadway design permits alignment and slope elimination during construction or reconstruction. Number 2, plans to install guide rails where none had previously existed shall be forwarded to the Planning Commission for their review. 3, weathered metal beam guide rail will be used when no other circumstances have to change this, hang on a second. Weathered metal beam guide rail will be used in certain situations such as waterways, scenic roadways, playgrounds, historic buildings, parks, open space, etc. Number 4, weathered steel will be used within 500 feet of a historic building, historical area, or when such building or area is eligible for historic designation. 5, when single sections of guide rail are due for replacement because of accidents and/or maintenance, pre-existing styles may be used. When more than 70% of the existing sections of guide rails need replacement, it shall be replaced with the recommended guide rail protocols. 6, areas which feature watercourses, scenic roadways, playgrounds, parks, open spaces, and other unique features which require guide rails will be forwarded to the Planning Commission for review. And in number 7, lastly, in all cases, should any uncertainty exist as to what guide rail should be installed, the Planning Commission will be consulted. We could add number 8, in all other cases, it'll be the discretion of the Public Works Department as to which guide rail should be used.
All right, I think that makes sense. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, especially, especially the portion where if it's a new guide rail that never existed before, it clearly points back to here, so it would have
Yes.
some say in it.
Agreed. Okay, Bob? Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
your question about the budget is covered because it's a compromise, and then Public Works can use whatever they have in their stockpile.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but on a new area where there's nothing ever been done, like, I agree, we have the right to, 'cause we don't want to slap some silver stuff in there if we don't like the way it looks, it's not gonna look nice.
Right.
So we wanna make sure we have that control.
And that should be in smaller bunches.
Yep. And the question is, how do we police that?
One at a time.
All right. Next thing you know, we're driving down the road, oh my gosh, look at that. Right, we didn't see that one coming.
That's what happens.
Right. All right.
Do we need a motion to forward that to the Board of Selectmen, or?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to, we'll send a letter off to the Board of Selectmen for the guide rail update from the commission and get their feedback or approval.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Good job.
It's passed. Good job, Bob. Thank you. Works.
Bob, are you gonna retype it?
You'll have it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's fine.
You'll copy Jordan on it too, just so we have that. Okay? Okay, all right. Perfect. All right. So, I'll make a motion to add in this exit 14, the reconstruction from the DOT that was just sent to everyone 3 and 4 hours ago before the meeting. If anyone wants to second it, or we'll put it on the agenda, but I'm gonna also make the motion to table it till the next meeting, because in 3 hours, I didn't have a chance to get through any of it, if anyone, so we'll just kind of go from there. I'll make a motion to just table it, make it a lot easier, till August 15th meeting, if that makes sense to everybody, and we'll have time to review it.
I would also just state for the record now, one of my concerns that I did not have a chance to fully explore is the town's taking a very pointed interest now in pedestrian trails. I've also heard possibly of bike trails being considered throughout the town. My area of concern is Lakeside Road and Georges Hill Road as they make their way down to Main Street South. Is there any consideration at all for any type of pedestrian safety or bicycle safety? From what I could tell, the widest section that I saw was either a 5 or a 7-foot delineation between what's called the fog line, the white line
Right.
on the edge of the road, and the guide rail. I didn't know if it was ever considered maybe widening that for potential pedestrian use. So, that's one of the things that immediately came to mind, and I don't know if somebody reviews this between now and then, that they might have an opportunity to, and maybe it's there, and I just didn't see it, but it's one of my concerns.
To go through, there was a lot there.
You
Okay,
know,
so,
when, I don't know if anybody else was on the commission then, when exit 14, 15, and 16 was presented by DOT to this town to reconfigure all three exits, and the two that were gateways to Southbury were discussed over and over. DOT came and made a presentation, Department of Public Works made a presentation. All of a sudden, this is happening like a couple of hours before our meeting. What
It's been
happened with
months
exit 15,
in
pardon
the
me?
works.
So exit 15, because of our input, was taken off the board because they didn't even realize that Bullet Hill Brook went, we didn't see on their plans, what are you gonna do about the brook that goes behind Southbury Plaza there and under the, they didn't even have it on their plan. They were, it just was so, anyway, that's what finally happened. So reconfiguration of 14 and 16 still exist, even though it was done, I don't know, at least 10 or 12 years ago. Plus the fact that nobody showed up to make a presentation, plus the fact that we don't have a planner, plus the fact that we just got it 2 hours before. I think it's not respectful of this commission, and I think we should ask for all three. A presentation by DOT or whoever they choose to represent this application, and have it, if we need it reviewed by a planner and we don't have one, we can always send it to Milo Nambru or whoever. But I think our due diligence is to schedule a special meeting for this.
But I'm under the understanding that
Can't hear you.
the only thing that the planning commission, their purview is landscaping only,
Yes.
not
Yes.
any other.
No, because that's
all
already,
the DOT.
DOT is already, that is already existing. They already did an engineered plan for this. This is in addition to the landscape.
All set to go, yeah.
Yeah, but we still need input. It's not just
I guess they don't feel
rubber stamp.
that's the case. I know it's the state.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that they didn't talk about was pedestrian safety plan in relation to this, such as, you know,
Yep.
are we gonna have a countdown timer at that signal in those corners? I mean, they definitely have crosswalks, but now you've got 5 lanes of traffic to cross.
Good point.
I think those were mentioned at one point, but I don't remember, I don't see it in there.
I
haven't had a
can't,
chance to go
I
through
can't
it
see
yet.
it. I'm trying to figure out what
So,
they're putting out for specification, but
There's a motion on the table at the moment, with Bob's addition to his thoughts and Nancy's, to table it to, August 15th, or should we do it 22nd? Should we make a special meeting? No, we can make it on the 15th, right?
I wonder if someone could represent them.
Yeah, I don't know, we have to double check it. Do we have the agenda packed for the 15th?
Now you got 2 public hearings.
They're quick, though. I guess we can put it on for the 15th. If we have to do a special meeting, we'll do that. We'll know that soon. So, August 15th, 7 o'clock, room 205. We'll table to then. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, it's tabled to the,
Who seconded that motion?
You did?
Who seconded it?
I'll second it.
okay, Nancy did. All right. I was gonna say Bob, it's fine.
I'm sorry.
All right, let's see here.
Minutes.
Meeting minutes, June the 20th. Let's see here. Members absent, Robin and Jason cannot vote on the meeting notes. Any questions on the meeting notes?
I think it shows me listed as an alternate as absent. I'm not an alternate.
Yeah, I wonder why. That's not right. We have to fix that. She's a full member. Okay, thank you. Anyone else, any additions, changes, any grammatical error, or spelling, anything at all? No? All right, all in favor, approve I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from June 20th, 2023. We can second?
I'll second.
With the one amendment to take out the alternate after Robin's name, since she's a full member. Who seconded it?
Bob?
Bob did, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Minutes passed, thank you. Correspondence, Town of Middlebury, proposed zone change request, LI 80 zone. Everybody on board with this, pretty much understand what this is all about? Okay. I have it right here too. Any 30,000 overview on this for us? Do you have anything else?
They're increasing the height.
That's all it was.
They're battling this fight.
That's all I saw was the height.
It'll,
That was the difference.
this is gonna be a long running process, whether or not this goes through or whether or not the Timex building becomes a,
Is that height requirement okay with the town?
with the town currently?
Yeah.
The public hearing set for September.
I saw that, but is the height just from the regulations?
No,
The height's
probably
in excess
not.
of the regulations.
The next is the regulations, okay. That's what I
That's
thought.
what the regulations changing is the maximum height allowed.
All right.
And, yeah, this is part of the distribution center that everyone's aware of, so.
Mhm.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
Why is the town of Southbury not being present at their all these public hearings they're having? Because it's certainly almost weekly, at least weekly, there's an accident on 84, and the traffic goes down our Main Street. With 500 trucks a day, 24/7, why are we not giving input? Because that certainly affects Southbury.
It absolutely would. It wouldn't be me giving that input. That would likely come from our selectman's office
Oh, okay.
with regard to circulation, traffic, the high school being in close proximity to a road that's gonna be heavily trafficked. It's a
And the middle
it's a
school
live
is right,
consideration.
middle school is right across the street.
Precisely. So
From this
it's a lot to consider when it comes to the downstream effects that Southbury could potentially be facing. Whether or not we're representing ourselves at these meetings, I don't think we.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've been to all the public hearings.
You have, yeah.
Nothing.
So outside of public comment, that's really all we could step in and say. The standard public comment during their public hearing procedures, but I'm sure they're getting a number of comments anyway. I've not been privy to anything like this before, so I'm unaware of the procedures that would be done with something
I
like
think
this.
the way the statute reads is that they must approve us for input if it's within 500 feet.
Correct.
Or if there's a substantial impact. That sentence right there, substantial impact, makes that they have to present it to us. But
Which is what they did in sending us that memo.
but that's just for the height.
That's a public notice
Yeah, but
to the
it's,
municipality.
there-
Whether or not we're within 500 feet, you're exactly correct. We are impeded by a traffic parameter, no longer a distance parameter. So even if we are in excess of 500 feet from the location of this proposal, you're right, we do have traffic considerations, which is why they are required by state law to provide notice to us. They're by no means required to give us a presentation.
but the notice is only for the increase in height. It's not for the traffic. I don't understand that.
The biggest concern is coming off of exit 15, right, with how many trucks a day when school gets out or school goes going
60,
in?
60.
That's gonna be a nightmare right there, going around that corner. That's tough
Exit
for the
60.
kids.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
It's not only
we should have a say in that.
the pollution, the noise, the traffic, the
Particulates.
schools,
I mean, all those trucks are gonna be diesel, and particulates are
noise.
a risk factor for health issues.
Yeah.
All it takes is one tired driver and hit one of the kids or something, that's bad.
And I know that COG has not they're kind of supporting this because of the employment opportunities, but I don't see that they've addressed anything about Southbury traffic, air pollution, noise pollution,
Right.
the school proximities, the disturbance of the wetlands situation, even though that kind of passed. I think, how do we get Southbury to respond? Because from a planning point of view, and that's where we are, there should be a traffic study from Southbury. That's what I think. Is there any way we can send a request for a traffic study for the impact on Southbury based on the state statute that says there will be a substantial impact? Can we do that?
Not based on the state statute. Because the state statute only provides that they have to give us notice of events that are occurring within their application process and their public hearing process. They have sufficed and they have given us that notice to meet that statutory requirement. They're by no means required to essentially respond to any requests for, additional information or review or consultation or anything like that that we have to provide. I'm in a weird position with this one too. I'm not really sure how to answer your question.
What's the downside? What's the downside if we request it?
Well, whether it be a inquiry through the first selectman's office to send a memo like, hey, the planning commission believes that this has serious effects and we believe that the town should be representing itself. First selectman might turn around and say, all right, like draft up a memo and send it to them, or pass it off to the land use office to follow up. I'm really unsure at this stage how exactly we would go about getting those answers. I'm happy to, in any way, provide whatever guidance or support that I can, but I don't have a complete answer.
Could you draft that memo for us? Then so it'd be from planning to, of course, a draft with our approval, to the Board of Selectmen to address the impact also on the road surfaces. Can you imagine Main Street South, 500 trucks a day, if there's a tractor trailer turnover or a fender bender on 84? And the school, and this also mentioned, we should mention something about the liability for the students from Southbury going to Pompey High School.
So we're concerned with traffic. You had mentioned environmental impacts such as particulates. We're having degradation of roadways.
Safety. Safety is a big factor, I think.
Yeah, there's no pedestrian, as far as I remember, I don't think there's pedestrian safety issue, like crossings at that Judd Road intersection.
As far as the traffic goes, I need to address
But that's not Southbury, that's
that
Middlebury.
aspect. Is there anything,
Right,
any
so this, we can just
today
try to
you
get something to
consider
this
should be
portal too, whatever.
addressed that
Give
hasn't
that to
been
Jason.
stated thus far?
He has it.
Okay. It says we could refer to the DOT information in that.
You asked some question.
Yeah, they said, unless it was related to a major traffic generator, that it wouldn't have been something that they would really look at.
Wow.
And, but the major traffic generator says, I mean, I don't know, I'm just reading it off the webpage, so it's out of context, and I don't have the professional experience to understand how it would apply. But it said if it's any new expanded, changed, or repurposed land use change development with 100,000 square feet or more of gross floor area, and I think this is really, really large, or 200 or more parking spaces would require OSTA approval to ensure safe operation on state roads.
We've got 500 parking spaces, it's 270,000 square feet. It's the size of the Waterbury Mall.
Yeah, I don't understand why it didn't have, maybe it did have that, I don't know, but that's what they pointed me to.
So Jason, after you draft that, then could.
Jordan.
I'm sorry, Jordan, could you
She thinks she's Jason.
give it to us?
I thought I had to start writing something as well. I better start taking better notes.
I will be sending it to you following draft, and I will wait for your approval prior to sending it to the Board of Selectmen.
Sounds great. Send it to all of us, yeah. Thank you.
All right, let's see
Yeah.
where it takes us to get some traction, right?
Yeah, and at least get us involved.
Okay. Thank you.
Maybe we should go to their public hearings, because I don't see anybody from Southbury there. There's a lot of information presented.
September 7th.
All right. Any other business that's properly brought before the commission? Anybody? Nothing, huh? Okay. Sounds good. That's pretty much a wrap then.
Great.
Yeah, not bad. Do I have anything else? Good.
No.
I'll make a motion to adjourn then.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a question. Getting back to exit 14 topic.
What's that?
The exit 14 issue.
Sure.
According to Debbie, the only document that we are able, as a planning commission, can comment on is the streetscape or landscaping document.
Right.
Should we not have a say on the traffic flow, the lighting, where the traffic lights are gonna be? I mean, to me, the landscape is the least important thing. I'm concerned, I don't want them to build another exit 15 at exit 14.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Oh, I think it will. That's, and exit 15 is a disaster come Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah, what are we doing the landscaping portion of it? That's correct.
Should we not be able to do or comment on more of it?
Well, it's the state's decision, so we really don't have much of a say, unfortunately. I mean, we could
do.
comment, but I'm not sure that it'll go anywhere.
I think they're using the plan that we already approved.
Right.
Blake Leonard, the new Public Works Director, has been working very diligently with individuals such as Don Antilla to make sure that details that a simple person would, like myself, would probably miss. They've been working on this for months now, and
Okay.
they've been heavily focused on the streetscape that this commission has approved.
Yep.
Keeping up with the general character of the streetscape.
Okay.
Outside of that, traffic lights, things like the accessibility of pretty much everything that's the DOT's purview is something that we can't comment on because this forces us.
Unfortunately.
We can ask them when they come here, though, if they do a presentation. Nothing going to stop us from asking, because that's how we got the information on exit 15 quashed that was so bad, so incomplete.